Good to meet you. How are you?
Buddy, thanks for the I know we've been going back and forth a few times
Oh
here,
yeah,
so
I was the health issues. My dad had a lot of stuff was going on. I'm sorry about that. So this was back
that's
on
okay, man.
my
It's all good, man. Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from India too.
Okay, right on.
How are you today?
Hey, doing good, man. Yeah, it's about 8 p.m. here now, so it's
Yeah,
just get ready to relax. Yeah.
wonderful, Stu. So Stu, your third album, Full Force, is to be out this Friday, September 23rd. So would you like to tell me a bit about the songwriting and production behind this new album?
Yeah, yep. So well, it's our third time around. So we've done it's well, it's a little bit more mature than the last two albums. We've got our songwriting routines from the same, it's kind of the same. Me and Cam, the other guitarist, we sort of write maybe 4 or 5 songs each, and then we get together and refine those songs down, and then we present them to the band. And yeah, I think we've got a pretty good mix of melody and aggression on this new one. Pretty happy with how it's turned out.
Amazing. And today you released the video for Dark and Mysterious Times, a great video, amazing song. So would you like to tell me a little bit about the making of this video?
Yeah, so it was the third single from the album, and we shot on a green screen about a year ago for the band shots from that, and then we did some extra shots the end of last year. Had someone bring in a couple of really big pythons and some sort of just native Australian snakes. And I've got an actress in this one who got to handle them, and yeah, it turned out really, really well. Like there's a little bit extra special effects they put in production. There's like a cool vial with smoke coming out of it, and I held the snakes as well. They're kind of man, they were big. They're like big. They're not something I would usually do, but it was fun.
Amazing, amazing. And was there any particular concept or a theme that was put behind Full Force?
No, the concept it's not a concept album as such, but every album we've done, we've sort of had the title track as a mission statement. So we had Master Plan, which is sort of like, the first album as we were all coming together. Conquer Command was the second album, just, basically just pushing forward and kicking ass. And then Full Force is nonstop, basically. And all the reviews are sort of picked up on that as well. It's just like there's no ballads, there's no slow songs. Everything's just cranked right up, and it's 42 and a bit minutes of just hectic metal. So if you like Iron Maiden, but maybe you play it a bit faster, then you'll really love it. Yeah.
Amazing. And talking about the album, 8 amazing songs, beautifully written, great musicianship behind it, the energy, the power, the melodies, the riffs, everything is so amazing to listen to in each and every song from this album. I really enjoyed each and every song from this album. But as a band, how do you feel about the outcome of this one?
Oh, very, very happy. It was actually finished last year around July. So we've just been sitting on this album forever, and I've had plenty of time to listen to it, and just, we'll go a few months without listening to it and then put it back. Oh, that's right, we have an album. So I popped it on, and it's just like, yeah, man, like this came out great. It's the first album with our new singer Dan. And that's obviously, it's always big shoes to fill when you come in replacing a great singer who we had previously. And the fans already know the previous guy, so they're going to be making comparisons. But a couple of Full Force, the song is probably the most power metal song I could have ever dreamed of putting together. I think they just came out fantastic. Another song I really love is called Into Oblivion. That was a really good sort of speed metal song that came out great. But every song on there, huge choruses, crazy solos, like everything. We just chucked it as much as we could, and yeah, I think everyone's going to be really happy with the new one.
Beautiful. And this Friday, do you guys have any special plans?
No, actually, we don't. We got a gig the following weekend. We're doing an album launch show on the 1st of October in Perth. But no, I think we're just gonna. Well, actually, I think we're gonna meet up on the Saturday after the album's out and just have a little get together there. But I'll probably just pop it on Spotify and just enjoy it. Yeah, well, I have to go to work, so I have real jobs to worry about.
Yeah, awesome. And how is the touring plan looks for you guys this year?
Probably not going to do very much this year. We're playing with Ailstorm later this year, but other than that, nothing's going to happen until next year. So there's sort of some backlog in the Australian venues with COVID still. Like a lot of venues were sort of like rescheduled. So it's just going, and there's a lot of international tours that haven't happened for the last 2 years. So there's a lot of backlog. So we're just sit back for a few months and just see how that looks, and hopefully we can get out maybe like, I don't know, midway next year at the latest, hopefully.
Wonderful. And earlier you said your music is much speedier version of Iron Maiden, but earlier you also toured along with Blaze Bailey and Paul Diano. So how was the
Right.
experience? How was the tour along with them?
Oh, that was just a one-off show that we did in this in our city, but that was great. It was they were just playing Iron Maiden classics, and Blaze played. He played first, and he was fantastic. And then Diano played after him, and yeah, he was pretty good too. He was in a not as I think Blaze was in a bit better shape at the time. Paul's had a lot of health problems, I think, in the last decade or so. He was, had his walking stick and
Yeah,
but obviously he's a little bit older as well, so a lot of respect was there for him though, because he's just he was in Iron Maiden for the first two albums, But
absolutely.
yeah, they were really really kind to us. Gave us whatever we wanted, photos, shared their riders. Yeah, they're just really nice guys. So I was pretty stoked. That was that was 10 years ago now. I think about it. That was wow. Yeah. We've had a lot of great opportunities with other bands as well, but yeah, that was one of the first ones we did. So yeah, it's
Amazing,
pretty special. Yeah.
amazing. And Silent Night goes way back to 2009 when it all started. So how has the journey been for you guys so far?
It's been well, yeah, it's gone fast. Like so it was just me in 2009, just started demos. Then maybe a few months later, got together with Cam, the other guitarist, and the original plan was just he was going to record some solos for me just to help find someone else, and then he ended up joining the band anyway. We've gone through 3 lead singers now, a couple of bass players, a couple of drummers. The band we got together now is very much aligned in in where we're out on the same page in terms of musically, and we're all pretty good friends, and we can put up with each other in hotels and airports, and so the band's in a pretty good place. A lot of the guys are parents now as well, so yeah, we've always had lots of things in common. So we, even when we're not rehearsing or touring, we try to catch up once in a while and hang out as well. So yeah, it's a good mix of guys, and that's the hard thing when you're in a band, is especially where we live, it's miles. Like, I don't even know about Perth, Western Australia, but it's pretty far from anywhere else in terms of other cities. So finding guys who like power metal, can play and can actually play power metal or heavy metal, and aren't in another band or 5 bands already, and then you just have to be able to, and also you have to be able to get along with them as well. There's a lot of parameters, but yeah, we've been fortunate, that's for sure. Numerous times been fortunate. We had a lot of good guys in the band.
Amazing, amazing. And any merchandise plans that you have on mind for along with the release of Full Force?
Merchandise?
Yeah.
Well, we got CDs, we got cassettes, there's t-shirts, there's the hot sauce, the Full Force power sauce, which is like a just like a chili sauce. I think that's all we got at the moment, but I know there's some requests for vinyl, but we are an independent band and just ran out of money basically. Vinyl costs a lot, and there's also was a backlog of a couple of the vinyl plants until next year anyway, because there's just a lot of albums didn't come out during the COVID period, I guess. So there's a lot of just delays in that regard. So yeah, we did all those. But this album came with 3 singles, and each one had its own artwork, which all looked really good. So we've got plenty of other t-shirts we can print in the future as well. But just for now, we just did the Full Force album and single ones, and then we'll do the Blood in the Water ones in the future, and the Dark and Mysterious Times ones maybe as well. Just all depends on how the tour plans go, because t-shirts are much easier to sell at a concert than they are with postage, and postage is ridiculous now. Like, it costs you more than the shirt almost. So but yeah, CD is probably the best way to go. So yeah.
Amazing. And are you planning to stay independent, or in the future you may sign up with any recording label? So what's the plan?
We got offered labels. There's never really been a deal that suited us. Like, we did some distribution deals in Europe for this one. There's an agency looking after us who's doing PR and distro. So Europe's a pretty big market for us in terms of what we're playing. And in Australia, we can handle all that sort of stuff ourselves. It's pretty close knit down here. And with the power of things like Facebook and Instagram, I sort of figured this time around we'll just I don't want to owe anyone money, if you know what I mean. Like if you're sort of on the label, and you might never get paid by the label anyway. It depends on if it's just a small label, it might go bust. So if it was the right deal, I'd definitely be interested in taking it. But for this particular album, the previous one's always been independent, and then just pay for everything ourselves up front, and then just we owe nobody nothing, and we got the masters, all the rights, and all the if something good comes along, then this we've invested ourselves.
Yeah. And any big dreams or goals that you have on your mind?
Oh well, I've always wanted to tour with Megadeth. Actually,
Oh, that would be awesome.
just a small dream like that. So yeah, Dave Mustaine, if you're listening, come down to Australia. Yeah, bands like all the big bands like Maiden and Metallica, Megadeth, all those the big hero bands, kind of the ones that made you want to pick up a guitar and play and join a band. They're the I've got some history with a few of those bands, and we've been I've been blessed in numerous ways over the years with them. But to actually go out and tour with some of those big bands would just be the real dreams. Other than that, I'm pretty content. Really, we've played with Halloween, we've played with Dragon Force, we've played with Black Label Society, heaps of great bands, and we've been really fortunate. So I'm really grateful for all those. So I don't want to make it sound like we're not having our dream, because really, like they are all little dreams as you go. That's all been fantastic.
Since you said you wanted to go on a tour with Megadeth, what are your thoughts on the new Megadeth album?
It's not bad. I really like the production on the last two albums. I've only listened to it once or twice because there's been a lot of music come out the last few weeks. There's been a lot of bands, man. So yeah, I think it's been out 2 weeks now. I listened to it the day it came out, and maybe another time after that. But man, I've just been flooded with new music. Like it's great. Like this, yeah, I'll go back and listen to it again. But what did you think of it?
Oh, I really enjoyed this new album. I think it was fantastic. But if you ask me, Rust in Peace has always stayed one of the best albums of Megadeth for me since the beginning.
Oh, that's a remarkable album. Peace Sells has always been my number one. But they're both amazing. I remember was it 2010 they did the Rust in Peace reunion concerts, and they played it in full, and that was awesome. So yeah, both great. They have so many good albums, man. So I could go on. I could talk about that band more than I could talk about my band, probably.
And Stu, would you like to share some of the great moments that has happened over the years for you? I know there should be a lot, but is there anything special that you want to share with me today?
Yeah, probably the playing in Germany at the Headbangers Open Air Festival. That was just going to Germany, where the sort of heavy metal I play and listen to is all the best bands are from Hamburg and all surrounding areas. So to be in northern Germany, where going to Wacken and Headbangers, and that was great. We played at some pretty big shows around Southeast Asia, big festivals there as well, like bands like Lamb of God. But also, I think some of the best ones were just the support acts we played. Like Halloween was a band I never thought I'd get to see, and they played at our city, which was even rarer than I thought. And then we opened the show, and they were actually they, rather than hiding in the dressing room, they just hung out with us for like an hour, and just that was so good. Like Andy Darris and Sasha Gesser especially, and Michael Wycath, were just anything you wanted to know, they'd tell you, and they're sharing all sorts of stuff. And those guys are great. And even like Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, he did a spoken word tour a few years ago, and we did a performance at the start of that. And he probably gave us a good couple of hours of his time, just advice and listening to what's next for us. And he was a really good dude too. Like he was great to us, and run into him a few times since then. And he's always, oh yeah, hey, like say good day. And and even like I worked with a guy you might know, Ross the Boss from Manowar as well, and I actually looked after their band when they were in town. We did the show with him, and made sure he was like, I did all the driving for him at the same time. And some of this, he was that. Watched him at the meet and greet. He stayed there for like an hour or something at this meet and greet, and then there's only 10 people there or something who pay for the VIP maybe, but he gave them whatever they wanted. Like he was like, seeing stuff like that, it's like, wow, these are like really genuine dudes, and it makes you feel good to be involved in it.
Amazing. And Stu, finally, what would be the message that you want to give to your fans around the world?
Well, we appreciate your patience on this new album because it's been 7 years since the last one has come out. So, we know it's been a long time, and there's been a few things along the way, like changing singers and that world pandemic that we had. But we appreciate your patience, and we think that you're going to really like this album. If you've liked the previous ones, you'll absolutely love the new one. So I hope you grab it on Spotify or YouTube, or you can buy the CD from, just jump on Google. It's available in most parts of the world. But yeah, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram if you want to talk about it, and give us some comments and let us know what you think. And hopefully we can come visit around the world as much as we can soon.
Awesome, Stu. And Stu, I want to thank you so much for giving me your wonderful time today. It's a real pleasure to have you. And thank you so much for putting up an amazing album, Full Force, this Friday. We're all looking forward for the release and hope to see you guys on the road real soon.
So, man, thanks for your time, man. I know it's been a bit of back and forth to catch up, but I appreciate it, mate.
My pleasure. So thank you so much, and you have a great night out there. Take care of yourself.
You too. Cheers, buddy.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Take care.